This is a podcast or something like that. Well, hello and welcome to episode 62 of the Verbal Journal podcast. That's right. If that's what you're trying to listen to, you are successfully achieving that right now. So congrats on that. And right now, it's kind of an exciting episode because it is actually, for the first time ever, it is the data episode featuring Reginald. So it's, how should I put this? It's not featuring Reginald. I did get that sort of at least locked down. I said, look, we can theme the episode around Reginald, the data guy, but I'm not going to feature him on the episode. He's not talented as a vocal actor. You know, that's just what I think and what a lot of people think. So, but it is the Reginald, the data guy episode. So, you know, that means, what does that mean? There's going to be a lot of data. Basically, if you're one of those people that every time I mention data and Reginald, the data guy, you start getting excited and you start enjoying the forthcoming data. Well, this is for you because we have so much data. So how did this happen? How did Reginald get the whole episode themed after him and his data? Well, he's been featured on each episode pretty consistently for, a couple months, maybe even at this time. I don't know. No, I don't want to know, Reginald. No, not yet. I'm doing the introduction. I'm not. Don't tell me data about that right now. But he got data in the title last time. So you could see, if you listen to the last episode, it was titled. Got this right here. It was episode 61, Good Mood Data, Draymond, and Chess Happenings, because that was sort of four things that were featured on the episode. My good mood, data, Draymond Green, a discussion of him acting in a commercial, and Chess Happenings, which, some podcasts would just title the episode Verbal Journal episode 61, Chess Happenings or something. You know what I mean? Like, why should I put that I was in a good mood in the title? But that did take up like the first, I believe it was like 5 to 10 minutes. I was talking about the implications of that. No, but it's partially I named them so I can remember like whatever's going to sort of remind me of that episode. And I don't know. I mean, the data thing, I don't know how that got in the title. That was a very pernicious kind of thing. I don't remember putting it in there. I title the episodes on Patreon and the YouTube members page, and I don't remember putting the word data in the title. So I've been kind of concerned about that, and then I woke up to an email from a unknown email. It just says unknown email at gmail.com, which I don't know what that means. But it says you will do an episode themed around Reginald, the data guy. So I was like, okay. So I guess what happened is he kind of pushed his way in first into the title and then to taking over a whole episode. But, I'll be reading these notes. He left me extensive notes. So it's episode 62 right now. And the podcast started, in January, mid to late January of last year. So the podcast has been going for about 67 weeks, we could say. And so episode 62 in 67 weeks, that is 0.93 podcasts per week. Okay. So if you're wondering what's the rate of podcasts, it's been 0.93 per week. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. And, I guess I did sort of talk last episode a bit about some data stuff. Like I was saying, I wonder how many night episodes I've done. I think that came up towards the end, right? I wondered about that. The answer to that, I'm learning here, is 3 so far. 3 night episodes, I believe, because they were all in the title. So that's sort of a law. You have to do that if you have a podcast and you record it at night. You have to put night episode in the title if it's normally like a day recording thing. So assuming that I followed that law, it says here, assuming that you followed that law, then according to your history, it's 3 episodes. First one is episode 14 on April 30th, 2023. And that was the episode I was editing all weekend, and then I did a very short podcast episode when I was editing the Breaking Bad video. Did a night episode Sunday night, I believe, after like 30 hours of editing over 3 days, which I've mentioned that bonanza before. Then I did episode 22 was a night episode on June 25th, 2023, and then episode 40 on October 29th, 2023. I don't have any information about those episodes. Really? Okay. Reginald? They're just numbers to people. It doesn't mean anything. You have to say, okay, well, we do for some of them. Okay. Another follow-up from last episode, I was talking about how many episodes have I done where the lengths of the episodes, the minutes are the same as the seconds, you know? So the answer to that is episode 11 on April 2nd, 2023. That was 59 minutes and 59 seconds. That was 59:59. Oh, okay. Interesting. And then the editing all weekend episode I was talking about, episode 14, that was 25:25, which is the one that made this come up last episode, I believe, right? I mentioned that one. I was like, oh, 25:25. So I wonder how many episodes were like that. So the answer is there's another one too. Episode 44 on December 10th, 2023 was 57:57. So that's 3 episodes, 59:59, 25:25, and 57:57. Wow. 3 times where the episode lengths were like that. Very interesting. Let me look that up right now. So that, Reginald, can you tell me that's 3 out of 62 episodes? Well, let's say 3 out of 61 because I don't know how this episode will go. Okay, so 5% of the episodes you're telling me. Okay, so 5% of the episodes end up with that symmetrical numerical breakdown. So that's fascinating from a data standpoint. And then there's some other data here about that. There's this is an almost like that episode 36 on October 1st, 2023 was 32:42. No, that's not interesting. 32:42. That's not similar enough. No, I mean that's just a different. What? It's poetic or something? No. Another one here. Almost. Episode 58, April 7th of this year. 41:14. Okay, that's kind of a little more interesting. 41:14. It's a little bit unlikely, right? Okay, so next up, how many episodes are exactly to the minute or half minute? That was kind of interesting. So how many episodes? So episode 21 was June 18th, 2023, and that was 47 minutes long on the dot. And then episode 28 was to the half minute, 40 minutes and 30 seconds. And then those are the only ones. Wow. Okay. Wow. 47 minutes. Episode 21 is the only one that's on the dot. And then there's an almost, the last episode, previous episode, episode 61, April 28th. 52 minutes and 1 second. Who could not make it 52 minutes on the dot? Really? Wow. I'm going to talk to the editing team about that. That's kind of disappointing. And then most listened to podcast episode. And this is only the YouTube data. I don't have data from Patreon. Patreon does not tell you how many times people listen to the audio and stuff. I don't know. Like, I guess you could do video hosting, obviously. I don't know if Patreon video, I think they do host videos now, but you could also obviously host a video through Vimeo or YouTube and then see the views. But, only YouTube shows me the views of the YouTube versions of the podcast for the YouTube members and the Patreon patrons who like to listen on YouTube, because Patreon doesn't show that. So we're just going from YouTube data here. It says here, and I'm sorry for you might hear a police siren. That's not about this. That's unrelated to this. Okay, so most listened to podcast was episode 24, which is the first public episode, which you can find on the Verbal Journal YouTube page. And so yeah, 285 views on that. Okay, cool. The runner-up is the second public episode, 182 views on episode 48, the second public episode. So what do we learn from that, Reginald? Like, should I take something, you know what I mean? Like, should I take something away from that? Should I be like, oh, the public episodes are the ones that get the most views? Because the most, it says here, most listened supporter-only episode, which is the private episodes, episode 18 has 29 views, which is kind of interesting. That's a lot of views for this podcast. You know what I mean? That's kind of interesting that it has, some of the others kind of surprised me too. Some of the other episodes have 15, 20 views, and I was like, whoa, huh. Some of them I might have clicked on a bunch of times, but I think other people have listened to them a few times. So I'm like, oh, interesting. So we're kind of building some energy here, I would say, some massive energy. 29 views, 29 listens, episode 18, May 28th, 2023. You know what? That was right after the Breaking Bad episode, Breaking Bad video. That's what it was. Yeah, there we go. Mystery solved. That was one of the more recent episodes right after the Breaking Bad episode. In fact, was it the last episode? Or did I not do the podcast right after the Breaking Bad video? Let's see if that might have been even. Let's check out the data. I'm gonna dig in right now for some follow-ups, just to see some addendumized. No. Okay, no. There was a podcast episode on May 7th, May 15th, and May 21st, but those only have 14, 16, and 22 views on YouTube. 29 views. Is the most listened to one, episode 18. It's titled Processing Jokes, Coherence, and Self-Criticism, which is interesting as a title. The description mentions weirdly long jokes, multiple references to something called coherence, a full-throated appreciation for Oxford comma usage, and so much more. So that's a great description. And I vaguely remember the episode, but I don't remember why it was so good. So great. And okay, 1 second. I'm getting a message here. There's something in the doc here that's, I think, in the wrong segment. So we're contacting the segment team about that and getting it reorganized in the proper segment. So okay. Anyways, so next up, so that's a lot of data, right? I mean, that's a lot of data about the podcast. What do you think about that? Let me know what you think about that. Okay, so next up, some data about the YouTube channel. So it is the official 1-year anniversary. I'm sorry, that's not. I don't mean. Is it to the day? I just mean it has officially been a year. Oh my God, it is to the day. May 5th, 2023. I released the Breaking Bad video. It is 1 year to the day later, and I have here I am now, 49,000 subscribers, 70 videos on YouTube, and I have not uploaded to the main channel for a year. Wow, I'm so proud of myself for that, abstaining from that. So yeah, I just, it's interesting that it's been a full year. Wow, I didn't think I was going to do this and just not upload for a long time, but it's fine. I've been, doing other stuff. So, but, eventually maybe I'll get back into more regular YouTube making, maybe. But yeah, it's been a full year to the day. Wow, you can't even you can't even get data that good sometimes. Like, wow, how do we get data like that? Fuck, Reginald. How did you do that? I'm looking at Reginald right now. I'm like, what the heck, man? You know what I mean? And Reginald is giving me this face. He's like, I don't know, bro. That's basically what's going on behind the scenes here. Okay, I'm getting a message here. It's about time I have to move on from talking about my own podcast and the channel. Okay, so we have more data, though. And more anniversary data. So it is now officially, not to the day like it is for me, but it has now been a full year since Magnus Carlsen has not been the world chess champion, but claims he is the world chess champion on his Twitter page. It's the first thing in his bio. It used to be his header. He changed it to make it a picture with some well-known guy who I don't know from the world of football, or as we say, soccer. But Magnus seems to have changed or told his social media team to change his header picture, not because it claimed that he was the world chess champion when he wasn't, but just because he wanted this cool picture to be it, which is great. Good for him. But problem is, he's not the world chess champion. It's an objective fact. It's not questionable or debatable. You can talk about whether he should be because he abdicated his throne. And, so the current world chess champion Ding Liren and potential future world chess champions have to know that there is a higher ranked chess player, a better chess player probably, who's just not the world chess champion. Also, speaking of higher ranked, I mean, Ding Liren is like the 7th ranked or something. It's something like that. He's close to the top, but he's not even over 2,800 anymore. So it's like, whatever. Rankings and champions are different, and there's different stuff. But Magnus Carlsen also says in his Twitter profile, the highest ranked chess player in the world. So that is true, and he can totally say that. He could even call himself the greatest, but that's, not a good look. But it's also not a good look to say you're the world chess champion when you are objectively not. He is not. And it's been a year now. It's been a year, and he still claims it in his bio. If there's one reason why this podcast should take off, it's so that eventually someone can tell Magnus Carlsen's social media team to take that out of his Twitter bio and his YouTube bio. His YouTube says, this is the official YouTube home of the world chess champion Magnus Carlsen. But he's not. And when you try to go to his website, magnuscarlsen.com, my computer says that his website might be unsafe and doesn't even want me to go to it. Something to do with, the apps or the trackers he's got on his site. But, I'm not saying it's an unsafe website. I'm just saying that's what my computer's telling me. I'm just don't shoot the messenger. I'm not saying it's an unsafe website. But I did go to it, and I didn't see him claim he's the world chess champion anywhere. He can't, yeah, I mean, that's, border... I almost want to say, is that illegal? Because at the end of the day, isn't that a protective, category? Or I guess you're allowed to just... It's not like calling yourself a doctor or a therapist, right? It's you can just call yourself the world chess champion, I guess. Right? It's like H Bomber guy in his video goes, I'm a helicopter pilot, I think you can just lie, in most cases, but... Oh, wait, let's look at Magnus's Instagram. Okay. Another platform, and... Oh my God, it says world chess champion and the highest rated player of all time. He has 1.4 million followers. And he calls himself the world chess champion on Instagram. Magnus, what is wrong with you, man? Seriously, dude, you actually have a problem because you gave up your title, man. And you have to come around to that. take it out of your Instagram, your YouTube, and your Twitter bio. And the craziest thing, which I just saw, and it's it's making me crack up. In his Twitter bio, he says, world chess champion, the highest ranked chess player in the world. And the highest ranked thing is also on Instagram. And then on Twitter, it says, former live #1 fantasy Premier League player. Former, he says former, but he doesn't say former for world chess champion. But he says former for something else in his bio. He says former for something else. So he does know that the word former exists, and he like understands the principle of when it's applied. You know what I mean? He just doesn't, he chooses to not apply it. He really can't come to terms with that. Magnus, you're not the world chess champion, period. It's so clear as day. It's not debatable. There's such a thing as the title, and you don't have it. Magnus Carlsen is better than me at chess to degrees that are impossible to even calculate. They're infinite. But him and I are equal to the extent that we are both not world chess champion. You know, he could become world chess champion again. And maybe in a few years, he'll decide to join the candidates tournament. I think he qualified for it this past year, but he chose not to join it. Because that would be funny. He just gave up the title. It'd be funny to immediately fight for the title again. But, you know, he'll do it again. It's going to piss him off to see Dang or Gukesh have it and stuff. But anyways, it's been a full year of him claiming that. So, hey, let's pour one out for denial. 1 full year. Isn't that wild? Wow. So, all right, moving on. So on to the Grinds My Gears segment. It's been a little bit light, but I've been trying to bring it back and make it consistent again. When this is this week's Grind My Gears. Hold on, let me have some water to try to lubricate my grinding gears. What? I can't say lubricate? Sorry, the director just looked at me like, come on. So, you know what really grinds my gears? When you're playing a board game, okay? You're learning a new board game with a bunch of people. And the board game box, or the pamphlet within it, gives an estimate for the amount of time to play the game and then to learn the game. They say that now. The board games will, you know, they've been forced by law to say on the box how long it will take to play the game and learn the game. That is federal law. And what grinds my gears though, okay, is when they say the amount of time to learn the game, and it's just to say it's optimistic, it's fraudulent. I was playing a game recently, 10 minutes to learn, it said. When I tell you this was a quite complicated game with cards and a little course where you're moving around pieces and little symbols within the cards and different, really, I mean, to learn even just the mechanics of the game, not even talking about strategy, the mechanics of the game. You know what, are 5 people supposed to be like a hive mind able to transmit information telepathically? 10 minutes to learn the game. That really ground my gears. So thank you. I mean, I guess where does chess fall on that? I guess chess is, speaking of which, it's a chess segment next. So let's think about this. I guess chess really, really doesn't take that long to learn. You just need to know how the pieces move, and then castling en passant, and pawn becoming a queen, and pawn going twice off the first row, and how checkmate works, and check, and can't castle through check. You know what I mean? There's like, and then you're good. So anyways, the chess segment, as I've noted here on past episodes, the chess segment is optional now. Okay, so the chess segment is not mandatory anymore. Through extensive union negotiations, I've been able to secure an option with the chess segment. So for this week, despite my, what I was just saying about chess and so on, I'm going to say no to the option here. I'm going to say no to the chess segment. I'm saying no. This has never been done before, Reginald is telling me. Really? Oh, well. So apparently the option has never been declined to do the chess segment, and I'm doing that for the first time right now as we speak. I'm currently, is there anything, there's something I need to sign. Okay. Yeah, bring that over here. Sure. So I'm declining the chess segment. And we are on to the desk segment, the desk meta segment, the desks section of segments. Okay, so we have the media desk. So here on the media desk, our article here, oh gosh, you got to be kidding me. This is a Variety article. It says, Variety is a good media publication. It says, Emma Stone, Nathan Fielder, and A24 to produce Checkmate, Ben Metzrich's chess scandal story. So apparently Emma Stone, Nathan Fielder are going to do... Emma Stone, Nathan Fielder. Those are two people. I'm sorry. Emma Stone... I thought it was one person. Emma Stone, Nathan Fielder. No, there's a comma there. Okay, so Emma Stone, comma, Nathan Fielder are going to be in a movie about the Magnus Carlsen, Hans Niemann chess controversy of 2022. And I guess involving the Sinkefeld Cup. And, I mean, are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me? Are they going to do it, like, true-ish to how it went? Or are they going to do the scandal stuff? Because, people were talking about the whole, like, anal beads thing. What if a chess player used anal beads to cheat? Because one person said that could hypothetically be possible. And then so people just ran with that. And a lot of people thought that someone actually did that, which I'm sure people have done that. But no one was ever accusing Hans Niemann of that, and that was really never part of the equation. There are a lot of ways you could cheat in chess, and a lot of chess tournaments, like all the chess tournaments except the absolute highest level, like 0.1%, of chess tournaments that are like televised and have great security. Like most of them, you could just basically even find a way to have a second phone. You know what I mean? Somewhere on your person, or you if you're willing to go all out, you could find some sort of microchip way to do it and transmit a sensor to someone far away who's somehow looking at the game. There's all kinds of different more subtle ways to do it. If you have someone there in the venue with you, they could be giving you hand signals or signaling by where they stand, but that's pretty risky to have someone walking around looking at your game, even though they're technically allowed to do that. Point is, there's a lot of ways someone could cheat. So apparently they're gonna do a movie about this. It's a dark dramedy. It's gonna be doesn't say anything else about it, but good. Emma Stone, Nathan Fielder is gonna do a great job in that, I'm sure. Second media desk. There's a second media. Okay. Are we allowed to do that? Okay. Second media desk segment. This is podcast. This is an article about a podcast. This is an article in The Guardian about a podcast episode. And apparently where Magnus Carlsen says, this is Magnus Carlsen? I thought we weren't doing chess. Okay. This is media. So on this podcast, so the article says, chess, Magnus Carlsen calls Ding Liren, quote, broken as teenage star Gukesh emerges. So I saw that and I was like, that's inflammatory. Why would he call the world chess champion broken? So it's, and this is from May 3rd. So this is from Friday. It says Magnus Carlsen, by the way, it's Sunday. I didn't say that. Hey, welcome. It's normal Sunday episode. I don't say anything because it's normal. Okay. Says Magnus Carlsen fears that Ding Liren may have been, quote, permanently broken following the world champion's poor performances at Weichensee in January and in the freestyle event in Germany in March. That's insane. There's no way Magnus Carlsen said that. Permanently broken? What? Carlsen, who remains, why? I think he did, though. They quoted him. Why would he say... It says Carlsen, who remains the world number one despite abdicating the title in 2023 after a 10-year reign, made his comments on a podcast last week in which he and David Howell also discussed the candidates. David Howell is a great commentator and a grandmaster. Discussed the candidates at Toronto and the surprise victory for India's Gukesh Damaraju, age 17. Ding won the crown 1 year ago this week by defeating Jan Nepomniachtchi in a tense match, which went to tiebreaks. Shortly afterwards, he stopped playing for 6 months, citing lack of motivation, plus an unspecified illness, which some sources said was anxiety or depression. At one stage, he considered retirement. After his two... This is such a weird article. I don't know. I guess you just have to read stuff and then think for yourself. But yeah, I was always like, who cares? Like, he took 6 months off after becoming... You don't have to do anything. He doesn't have to work. He doesn't have to play in chess tournaments if he doesn't want to. Who cares? That's absurd. Anyways, where's the quotes that Magnus said? This article really says a lot. Okay, here. Carlsen revealed that he gave Gukesh a one-sentence word of advice. Okay, that's not where... Hold on, I have to do Control F broken. Oh my God, they don't give the full quote. Okay, well, whatever. Magnus does say weird stuff like that sometimes. He's usually considered, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's absurd. That's a weird... You never use that word about someone, but if Ding doesn't want to play chess, that's fantastic. But he does. He's excited to play the World Championship, and everything's great. Oh, do I have a good segment for you now? The Fantasy Desk segment. So this is where I talk about my fantasy baseball team. Oh my gosh, this week is so exciting. Right now, so Sunday's the end of the matchup, right? It's a 7-day matchup. You collect points. I'm doing great. I'm 4-1. So I'm the only 4-win team in my 10-team league after 5 matches. So it's been 5 weeks, 5 matches. You play a different team each week. And I'm the only team to have 4 wins. Because there's a team with a tie, and 10 teams, I guess, is sort of an odd number. So we've played each other enough after 5 weeks. I'm the only one with 4 wins. That's great. But my situation is threatened right now. It's such a wild last day, and I'm going up against my friend. So this is a league of people I know, or I don't really know them, but my friend knows them. So I'm in it with my friend, and then we're going head-to-head this week. So he was crushing me all week because I just had some bad outings with some pitchers, and just some of my batters didn't, produce. But yesterday I had a sick day. And I got so many points. One of my players, Max Muncy, got 3 home runs. Jurickson Profar had a wild day too. Got so many points. I got so many points. Shohei Ohtani got a home run. Andy Pages got a home run. Like, it's just I had such an amazing day that I got so many points, and I came back, and now I'm winning because today also my pitcher Nestor Cortez for the Yankees is having a great outing. But it's going to be extremely close because 10 points is nothing. My players, my opponent's player, Aaron Judge, just got a double or something. But yeah, I'm up by 9 points now. And the crazy thing is going to be the Dodgers game later, where I have a lot of players on the Dodgers on my team. So they're going to be going. And my friend has the pitcher on the Braves who's throwing against the Dodgers. So if the pitcher has an amazing day, my friend's probably going to win. And if the pitcher has a bad day, I'm definitely going to win. So that's it's kind of all hinges on that. So it's going to be really exciting. Okay, some Fantasy Desk data. I was lucky to win last week because, last week in my matchup, I won my matchup, but I didn't have that many points, and my opponent just had lower points than me, and only one other team had lower points than me as well. So, that's kind of lucky that, only 2 teams had lower points than me out of the 10 teams in the league. Only 2 out of 9 of the other teams had lower points than me, and one happened to be my opponent. So that's pretty lucky. So, but sometimes you need luck, Luck is a big part of life and data. So next up, the pattern desk segment. This is related to baseball. One team has won 12 games in a row. Oh, okay, whoa. 12 games in a row. They're the Minnesota Twins. They're now playing the Boston Red Sox. It's the bottom of the fourth, 1-1. The Twins have won 12 games in a row. Wow. That's the longest win streak so far in the major leagues this season. Very cool. Social media desk. What do we have here? We have a Twitter message. This is an Elon Musk parody account who is, their description says, their bio says, "I'm not Elon Musk. This is a parody account. This account is not affiliated with Elon Musk." All one word, lowercase. Daily question/quiz. Freedom of speech. MAGA. American flag 2024. I love X heart emoji. Period. To put a period after an emoji is really something else. Their tweet, this is from April 27th, 11 a.m. on the dot. I wonder if they scheduled it. It says, "Be honest. The name X is far better than Twitter. Yes or no?" So first of all, that's a loaded question. If you're trying to do a poll, that's that's not a very neutral way to do it. But okay, whatever. You're just letting on what you think, and you have it in your bio, so it's kind of understandable. But Twitter or X. So what do people say? Oh, I'm not logged in. Okay. Do I have a burner account that I could log in with? Yes, I do. And let's open that up. Okay, so here we go. Be honest, the name X is far better than Twitter, yes or no? So what did... Someone commented, you own Twitter, you can't conduct a survey, and they made it a poll. And their poll got 233,000 votes, and 90% said Twitter. That's fucked. I didn't realize someone did a poll. Wow. Someone else did a poll with 1,000 votes. 96% said Twitter. I just saw all the huge name people who have blue check marks. So they pay for Twitter. And they still say we call it Twitter, and they have 100,000 likes. So this is just a massive post. And it's interesting because, that's just, everyone just says we still call it Twitter. And, that's just interesting to me from a data perspective. So next up, biography desk. So I've been reading a lot of biographies for the last year, but how many biographies have I been reading? A lot of people have been wondering. Well, this is the episode where we can find out stuff like that, right? So how many biographies have I read, in how long a time, what rate? So 15 art books. Not all biographies, we'll get to that. 15 art books, most of them biographies, but 15 art books in 10 months, which is 1.5 a month, okay? So I've read 1.5 art books a month. 10 have been straight biographies. So not a memoir of someone who knew an artist, not a rambling of Gertrude Stein about things related to Picasso that don't make a lot of sense, and maybe I just don't want to know anything about Picasso anyways, but the more you know, the worse, but what's it, or maybe I should say the less I know, the better. Someone said get it together. All right, I'm going to get copyright claimed. Anyway, so 10 straight biographies in 10 months, so one per month on average. Wait, let me do that math again. 10 divided by 10. Yep. What percentage men versus women? Ooh, I'm going to be calling myself out here big time, but I deserve it, and I'm going to rectify it. I actually do really want to. I've just been slow to do that. But all the books have been about men. All the artists have been men that I've read about. I'm just going to admit that. I reviewed it. I reviewed the data. That's true. Some chapters of the book, Lives of the Artists, were about women, like Cindy Sherman and other artists. But most all the things have been about men. 3 of the 16 books, I forget why I had 15 and 16, but 3 of the 16 were written by women. So that's not great either. But that's the data on that. What's that percentage-wise? Could I get that percentage-wise? Yeah, that's 0.1875%, so 0.19%. Okay, so about 19% of the books have been written by women. So that's not a lot. What percentage cool people? I'm going to save that for a future thing. I might talk about that in the future, not on the future. Okay, next up, let's go to the mailbag. The mailbag is a segment where I check the mail, so you can write in to verbaljournalpodcast@gmail.com. It's a common thing for people to do, but how common is it? Before we get to the mailbag, and we do have a message from Sam. Thank you so much for writing in. I'm very excited to read that. Let's get some data first on the mailbag. So in the course of the podcast, it's been 20, we've gotten 21 write-ins. Okay, so 21 write-ins. That's 21 emails from listeners. So that's in 67 weeks. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, 21 including today. Thank you. Okay, Reginald. Yeah, fair enough. You don't have to interrupt me for that. Okay. No, I guess. Okay. Okay, so 21 including today. In 67 weeks, that's 0.31 write-ins a week. Okay, so 0.31s. So a third of the weeks we have someone write in. That's great. That's a great rate. Podcast Monthly magazine says that that's what you should shoot for. And this is not counting Google writing in and not counting me writing into myself. Okay, so no, this is not counting those. But Google has written into the podcast 14 times. 12 of them have been security alerts, and one has been an update of terms of service, and one has been related to their inactivity policy. Okay, let's get to that's all the data for the week. So I hope you liked that. Okay, so that was the data. Thank you, Reginald, for that. So to get to the write-in subject line, Nix the Penix. Yeah, I was talking about the football player Penix last podcast episode. Thank you so much for writing in and relating on that. Ballyhoo, what's therapy? First, I'm glad you didn't have to go to the hospital after your dangerous sneeze nearly sent you to the grave. Thank you. I know. It was wild, that sneeze. And my neck has been great lately. I've been taking care of myself. Seriously, it sounded just awful, so I'm glad you're on the mend. Thank you. Also, again, with the fairness, you express yourself in such a way that is reasoned and seemingly without malice. Ooh, I appreciate that. You really give the listener, or at least me, time to take in issues and see it clearly from your point of view. Stellar, what's therapy? Thank you, and I love the word stellar. By the way, I have a record of the cool podcast you sent me that you made, and I'm looking forward to checking it out. Podcast recommendation here. If you haven't listened already, it's a bit slick, but Significant Others goes into detail about famous people's other halves. That is such a great idea for a podcast. No, I've never checked that out. I never listen to podcasts, basically. Or I guess I do sometimes, but the past week it was Dali and his wife Gala, whom he'd only slept with once, getting it out of his system for life. Is that true? I've read one of his autobiographies, and I've never read a biography of him. I do want to do that because it's funny, because I read his autobiography when I was younger, before I, got my more recent interest in, well, not really. I was into biographies, but not art biographies. But anyways, I have thought, it'd be interesting to read a biography of Dali, because his autobiographies are so self-indulgent and unreliable, narrated to hell. So it would be really interesting to read a biography of him by someone who is willing to really do the work to separate the myth from the reality. But Dali and his wife Gala did definitely have a very strange relationship, and I would understand. I mean, especially in his novel too, which I read, there was this whole thing about I don't know how to describe it, but the way erotic stuff was described, it wouldn't shock me if he never slept with his wife, but I don't know. Yeah, and that what you're saying, sleeping with her once and then never again, that does seem like something he would do, but I don't. Yeah, maybe it's too perfect, so maybe that's it. But you might enjoy a listen. Thank you so much. Thank you for writing in, and I really appreciate it. And thank you for being the 21st write-in in 67 weeks. That's about 67 weeks. So I guess some of those weeks I didn't do an episode, right? So I'm saying I didn't get a write-in, but I also didn't do an episode. But that's okay, because it doesn't make a difference, right? But anyways, you can write into verbaljournalpodcast@gmail.com. Let me know what's up. This has been a great episode. I've had a fantastic time. I think we're done. Go have a good one, and I'll talk to you soon, most likely next week. Okay. Cool. Okay, goodbye. This is a podcast or something like that.